Welcome to my reaction to Turnabout Storm Part 3, and here's where things get a bit tricky. At this point in the Turnabout Storm series, Episode 3, if you want to call it that, is separated into two parts, one from Twilight's point of view, and one from Phoenix Wright's point of view. What also makes this tricky is that the Phoenix Wright one was originally released first, but you're actually supposed to watch Twilight's part first. And if you don't pay close attention to the description in the videos, you might miss that. So yeah, thank you to everyone in the comments who gave me a heads up on that. That means for this video I am specifically talking about Part 3 Twilight. Once again, spoiler warning for this part of the series, and we start out right away with a flashback to Princess Celestia telling Twilight to summon Phoenix. It turns out I was right, it wasn't just an accident. And of course, Celestia is being her usual cryptic self. Like, how do you know Phoenix? Oh, we had a thing together a while back, but I don't want to talk about that. Okay, not really, but I'm gonna be very surprised if there isn't fan art of that. As for them lying about it, Celestia basically says, yeah, he's gonna be kinda freaked out when he gets here. Plus, if you want to get on his good side, tell him he's the best lawyer ever. You really gotta stroke his ego. Among other things. Wow, I'm getting into Molestia territory here. But getting back to the present, we see that Twilight is so pissed off about what happened to Fluttershy that she's planning to fire Phoenix and become a lawyer herself. And so she goes off to do her own investigation. She catches up to Apple Bloom and we get some new information. Apparently, Rainbow Dash really did bring the storm cloud over to the forest. Well, that doesn't look too good. Also, we find out that there wasn't any sound when the second lightning bolt went off, which makes it questionable if it actually was a lightning bolt in the first place. But Apple Bloom did find a bag in the forest that, as far as we know, has a yet unidentified foul-smelling substance inside. And along the way, we meet some new characters. The first is a mare who, so far, we don't know who it is or what she has to do with anything. She just kind of shows up and then disappears again, so it's basically like, hey, I'm probably gonna show up later. I have absolutely nothing to do with the story right now, but there's a good chance that I will. Hint, hint. Yeah, but seriously, that whole explanation is longer than the screen time that she has. The next character that we meet is a Pegasus named Cruise Control, who, I'm not gonna lie, he annoyed the fuck out of me at first, because he has this fake personality that he goes into where he goes, yeah, I'm good. No, I'm not. Shut up. No, you shut up. No, you shut up. God, you're so stupid. And that's just part of it, but it gets really grating after a while. But then we meet a friend of his who's a griffin who lets us know a little bit about what his deal is. And it isn't until later that we finally get the whole story. We learn that he has a sister who's in a coma and he needed Ace's help to get her into a hospital in Canterlot, which is supposed to be the best hospital around. But as a trade-off, he has to compete in this big race against Ace every year, and he basically has to take a dive every time. And to make it even worse, even though he hates throwing the races, he doesn't even have the option of quitting because Ace makes him compete to make himself look better. And apparently Ace does this to all the top racers. He was doing it to Cruise Control's Griffin friend, and he was also going to do it to Rainbow Dash. That's why he had the embarrassing pictures. We also get a hint that maybe Cruise was the one who killed Ace, but before we can find out, the psych locks go up again. Yes, I apologize for what I said before when I called them psychic locks. And to be fair, I was close. It's just been years since I followed the Phoenix Wright games. But yes, Twilight now has the ability to see the psych locks as well. And she finds out that Trixie has some really dark stuff to deal with. And after reconnecting with Phoenix at the end, who already has Fluttershy walking free, she's ready to forgive him before going back to the trial. Other things worth mentioning include Twilight finding a burnt metal rod that I originally thought was a lightning rod, but it turns out to be a golf club that Pinkie Pie invented. Though I wouldn't be too surprised if it was used as a lightning rod anyway. Because of the way it's introduced, I think it's a little too early to completely dismiss it right now. And we also learned that Ace had an accomplice who was helping him do all the blackmail stuff, but was trying to leave. Off the top of my head, I don't quite remember if that was supposed to be Cruise Control, or if it's something that's going to be explained later. But on that note, I'm really liking the story so far. I feel a lot more invested in the mystery that they're building up, but yet again, I'm not a big fan of the humor here. Unfortunately, too many of the jokes end up overstaying their welcome. For example, there's one scene where Twilight is talking to Derpy, and there's a running gag where Derpy keeps changing her name between Derpy and Ditsy Doo and Bright Eyes, which is a great idea, by the way. I actually did chuckle at that once or twice, but it just never ends. They don't know where to cut it off. So, I'm sorry, I'm just not feeling it. However, I want to end this on more of a positive note, so Also, I want to quickly mention the voice acting, which started out rough, but it has progressively been getting better. Now, most of the time I don't feel like picking on the voice acting because it's just one of those unfortunate facts that you are not going to get Tara Strong or Nicole Oliver to be in your fan project. But having said that, some of the voices here get really close. When you listen to Apple Bloom or Sweetie Belle or Pinkie Pie who shows up at the end, those performances are probably the closest I've ever heard without actually having access to the people from the show. So overall, yeah, I'm really getting into it. I can't wait to get back to the trial. But before that, next time in part 4, I'll be talking about the Phoenix Wright side of part 3. And we'll get to see Phoenix hanging out with Pinkie Pie. I can only imagine. I'll see you then.